The gold medal around Ryuichi Kihara's neck at the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics looked like the ending of a perfect story. Millions of fans watched him stand proudly on the podium as Japan celebrated one of the greatest achievements in its figure skating history. To the world, he was an Olympic champion. But what almost nobody could see was the unbelievable journey hidden behind that medal. Just 7 years earlier, in 2019, this same man wasn't standing under bright arena lights or hearing his country's anthem. Instead, he was quietly working a part-time job at a local skating rink in Nagoya. His daily responsibilities were surprisingly ordinary. He greeted visitors at the front counter, handed out rental skates, answered questions from families, and watched over people enjoying the ice. There were no special privileges, no celebrity treatment, and certainly no signs that this quiet employee would someday become the best pair skater in the world. His hourly wage was exactly the same as everyone else's. Being an Olympian didn't earn him an extra dollar. Years later, one of his former co-workers remembered him with simple but meaningful words. He was someone we could completely trust with any job. That single sentence reveals more about Ryuichi Kihara than any medal ever could. He never asked for special treatment. He never acted like a famous athlete. Day after day, he simply did his work with humility while wondering if his competitive career had already reached its end. Looking back now, it's almost impossible to believe that the future Olympic champion was once standing behind a skate rental counter questioning whether he should walk away from the sport forever. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we continue one of the most extraordinary stories in modern figure skating. In the previous chapters, we explored the remarkable journey of Riku Miura, the young skater whose determination carried her through countless challenges. But now, her story is about to collide with another life. A life that was moving in the opposite direction. This wasn't a partnership that had been carefully planned for years. It wasn't arranged by destiny from the beginning. In fact, it almost never happened at all. The story you're about to hear exists because of a series of impossible coincidences, a few split-second decisions, and one man who genuinely believed it was time to give up skating forever. Before Ryuichi Kihara became one half of the legendary RikuRyu pair, he had already spent years searching for his place in figure skating. Many fans don't realize that he originally competed as a men's singles skater. He even represented himself at the Japanese Junior Championships, chasing the same dream as thousands of young athletes across the country. But in 2013, everything changed. Senior pair skater Narumi Takahashi approached him with an unexpected proposal. She wanted him to switch disciplines and become her new pair skating partner. It sounded like an incredible opportunity, yet for Kihara, the decision wasn't easy. Years later, he admitted just how difficult that moment truly was. He remembered spending nearly an entire month struggling with the choice. At one point, he seriously considered staying in singles competition just long enough to compete at the National Sports Festival before quietly retiring from skating altogether. Imagine standing at a crossroads where one path leads toward an uncertain future filled with risk, while the other offers a quiet exit from the sport you've devoted your entire life to. That's exactly where Kihara found himself. Eventually, he accepted Takahashi's offer and stepped into the unfamiliar world of pair skating, believing it might become his second chance. Unfortunately, reality proved far harsher than he expected. The years that followed became an exhausting cycle of hope and heartbreak. He partnered with Narumi Takahashi, then later with another skater, and eventually another after that. Partnership after partnership came to an end before reaching the success everyone hoped for. Every breakup left another emotional scar. Because of his naturally sincere personality, Kihara didn't blame bad luck or circumstances. Instead, he blamed himself. He constantly questioned whether he simply wasn't good enough, whether he had somehow failed each partner who believed in him. Over time, that self-doubt became impossible to ignore. Eventually, he admitted something deeply painful. "I started thinking that maybe I just wasn't meant to be a pair skater." Those words didn't come from frustration after one bad competition. They came after years of disappointment that slowly chipped away at his confidence. Then came April of 2019. Another devastating announcement arrived. His partnership with Mio Suzaki had officially ended. Once again, he found himself without a partner. But this time, the emotional weight wasn't the only problem. His body was also breaking down. Lingering pain in his shoulder and back had reached a point where training became increasingly difficult. His future in competitive skating looked darker than ever. There was no clear plan, no obvious opportunity waiting around the corner, no guarantee another partner would ever appear. Faced with so much uncertainty, Kihara returned to the place that had always felt familiar since childhood, the skating rink where he accepted a part-time job just to keep moving forward. While many of his childhood friends had already begun building careers in offices and companies, he found himself handing out rental skates to recreational visitors. For a 26-year-old athlete who had dedicated nearly his entire life to chasing Olympic dreams, that contrast was impossible to ignore. Every day carried another quiet reminder that time was slipping away. Even officials inside the Skating Federation noticed how discouraged he had become. At one point, Kihara casually joked with one federation director, "Maybe I should try out for independent league baseball." As a lifelong baseball fan, especially someone who supported the Chunichi Dragons, it sounded almost humorous on the surface. But beneath the joke was something much heavier. He wasn't really talking about baseball. He was talking about escape. He was searching for another future because he no longer believed skating still had one waiting for him. 6 years had passed since he abandoned singles competition to chase success in pairs, yet he still hadn't reached the level he once imagined. Even his Olympic experience left him feeling like he hadn't contributed enough to his team. The joy that had once made skating feel magical slowly disappeared. Later, Kihara confessed something heartbreaking. Skating just wasn't fun anymore. Those 7 simple words captured everything he had been carrying inside. When the sport you love becomes something that only brings disappointment, continuing forward requires more strength than most people could ever imagine. Little did he know, the moment that would completely transform his life was already approaching. It wasn't scheduled. It wasn't carefully planned. It arrived quietly on an ordinary day, disguised as nothing more than another routine assignment. And with one unexpected request, everything was about to change forever. May 10th, 2019, looked like just another ordinary date on the calendar. No television cameras were waiting outside the rink. No reporters were searching for headlines. No one inside the arena believed they were about to witness the birth of one of the greatest partnerships in figure skating history. To everyone involved, it was simply another day at the Japan Skating Federation's annual pair skating development camp. But history rarely announces itself before it happens. Sometimes it arrives in complete silence, hiding inside moments that seem too ordinary to matter. Ryuichi Kihara wasn't invited because he was beginning a new chapter in his career. Quite the opposite. He was there as a helper. The Federation needed experienced male pair skaters to assist with training sessions because there weren't enough athletes available for the camp. He wasn't attending as someone with a bright future. He wasn't there to impress coaches or search for a new partner. His job was simply to support the younger skaters for a few days before returning to his part-time work at the skating rink. Meanwhile, on another section of the ice, a completely different story was unfolding. 17-year-old Riku Miura was facing one of the hardest decisions of her young career. She had already spent years building a partnership with her teammate, training together, competing together, and representing Japan on the international stage. 3 appearances at the World Junior Championships had created memories, experience, and trust. Walking away from that partnership wasn't something anyone could do lightly. Behind closed doors, serious conversations continued throughout the camp. Coaches, federation officials, and respected Canadian pair coach Bruno Marcotte discussed every possible option. The future of several athletes was uncertain, and no one could confidently say what would happen next. Careers were hanging in the balance. Kihara knew almost nothing about these conversations. He simply completed the responsibilities he had been assigned. After finishing his work on the ice, he stepped off the rink, removed his skates, packed away his equipment, and began walking toward the exit. In his mind, the day was over. Then everything changed. Just as he reached the automatic doors, Bruno Marcotte called out to him, "Hey, Ryuichi, help Riku with a few minutes of practice." It sounded like a casual request, Nothing dramatic. Nothing that suggested the future of Japanese figure skating was about to shift forever. Years later, people who were there remembered how random the moment felt. There had been no remarkable results earlier that day. Everyone was beginning to wrap things up. Kihara had literally started leaving the building. Think about that for a second. If he had walked just a few steps faster, if the automatic doors had closed behind him a few seconds earlier, if Marcotte had been distracted by another conversation, that sentence would never have been spoken. History often depends on moments so small that nobody notices them until years later. Kihara quietly turned around. Riku Miura also laced up her skates. Together, they stepped back onto the ice. Neither of them knew they were about to change each other's lives forever. The first few seconds felt different. Their timing matched almost instantly. They accelerated across the rink with identical rhythm, pushing into the ice with the same power and the same tempo. Instead of fighting each other's movement like two strangers learning to work together, they moved almost as if they had trained together for years. Then came the twist lift. As they entered the setup with synchronized backward crossovers, Kihara launched Miura high into the air. The height shocked everyone watching from the boards. Federation official Aji Kobayashi later admitted that he instinctively held his breath. "I remember thinking, this could really work." Bruno Marcotte didn't celebrate. He simply smiled. It wasn't a loud reaction. It was the quiet smile of a coach recognizing something extremely rare. Another Federation official later recalled one detail he could never forget. The moment Bruno smiled, I knew he had seen something special. Out on the ice, the atmosphere had completely changed. Neither skater expected this. Neither had prepared for it. Yet every movement felt unbelievably natural. When the session ended, both of them were smiling. Not because they had landed every element perfectly. Not because they had already become partners. But because they had experienced something impossible to explain. Later, Kihara tried to describe that feeling. "I was honestly shocked. For the first time, I thought, maybe this could actually become something." Then he added words that perfectly captured the mystery of pair skating. "There are some kinds of compatibility that simply can't be explained." That sentence reveals something every great pair team eventually learns. Technique can be taught. Strength can be developed. Jumps can improve. But true chemistry between two athletes is something no coach can manufacture. Timing, trust, balance, confidence. Every pair must share those emotions at exactly the same moment. When even one of those pieces is missing, the partnership struggles. But when all of them suddenly connect, something extraordinary happens. For years, Kihara believed he wasn't built for pair skating. One unexpected practice session forced him to question everything he thought he knew about himself. Still, this wasn't the beginning of RikuRyu. Not yet. One successful skate couldn't erase years of disappointment. Kihara still carried emotional scars from previous partnerships that had fallen apart. Deep inside, he couldn't ignore the fear that history might repeat itself once again. He also understood the enormous responsibility that would come with skating beside a talented 17-year-old athlete whose future was still being written. Miura faced her own impossible decision. Ending a long partnership meant closing an important chapter of her career. It meant saying goodbye to years of shared dreams and beginning again from zero with someone almost a decade older than herself. It would have been much easier to stay where everything felt familiar. Instead, she chose something far more difficult. She chose uncertainty. That decision would soon change not only her own future, but the future of Ryuichi Kihara, Japanese pair skating, and eventually the entire Olympic podium. What neither of them realized was that the most important move wasn't made on the ice that day. It would happen weeks later, when a quiet 17-year-old girl found the courage to make the first move herself.